number one, multiplying a binomial times a trinomial. First thing I want you to know, we are going to be taking a binomial and we're going to be multiplying that times a trinomial. Now, first off, we cannot use the FOIL method. Reason we cannot use the FOIL method is we are dealing with a binomial times a trinomial. FOIL method only works if you're doing a binomial times a binomial. So in this case, we cannot use the FOIL method. So what are we going to do? Well, we're simply going to use a drawn out version of the distributive property. It's more the same with the distributive property FOIL method. It's just how many things you got to multiply and how much you have to collect as far as like terms go. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my binomial, I'm going to identify that first term, and I'm going to realize that that needs to multiply into everything in there. It's really what we did in the FOIL method. We just did it with this neat little acronym. So we're going to do the FOIL or the distributive property x times all of this stuff. So this is a 1x and he is a power of 1. Keep those things in mind as well. 1x to the power of 1 times x squared. Of course, 1 times 1 is 1, and x times x squared is x to the third when you add a 1 and a 2. X times, or 1x times negative 3x is going to give me negative 3x squared. Keep in mind that we will add those exponents. This guy also has a power of 1. Then last but not least, I'm going to take 1x to the first times 4. That is going to give me positive 4x, and that's to the first. I'm not going to bother with the 1, so that should be good. Then we have to do the distributive property again because we have a binomial times this, not just a monomial. So we're going to take this guy times all of that stuff in there. So now we're going to take times x squared. That, of course, is going to give me negative 2x squared. I'm then going to take negative 2 times negative 3x. That's going to give me positive 6x. Then I'm going to take negative 2 times 4. That, of course, is going to give me negative 8. Now, the only difference now, other than we have to use what method works at the time, is now there's a whole lot of stuff to gather up. The more things you multiply together, the more likely you are to create like terms, and we have to combine these things. So I'm looking at x to the third is right there. He is the boss degree value. He's the only cube in there. He is the largest degree, so he goes out front. So he's there. Then I'm going to go to the squares. I have two squares in which to combine. I have negative 3x squared and negative 2x squared. That would give me negative 5x squared. Then, of course, I have my linear terms or my x terms. I have that positive 4x and positive 6x. That, of course, is going to give me a positive 10x. Last but not least, I have a constant of that negative 8 or minus 8 right there. He's going to come down. There's nothing to combine him with. And there we go. I have a 4-term polynomial that is a cubic. I'm going to put another one up. If you feel comfortable with it, you can do it by yourself. Pause the video and give it a try. If not, you can simply, follow along. So this time, let's put something like 2y minus 1. Let's multiply that times 3y squared minus 7y plus 4. So there we go. Again, we're taking a binomial times a trinomial. We cannot use the FOIL method because we're not taking a binomial times a binomial. So instead, we will do a little bit different version of the distributive property. Meaning, we're going to have, if I can get the cap off, I'm going to have this 2y, and he's going to distribute into everything into that trinomial. Then, of course, after that, I'm going to take that negative 1, or minus 1 here. I'm going to distribute that into everything in the trinomial. So let's go ahead and start with 2y. So keep in mind, anytime you have a y, these guys mean they have a power of 1. Do not forget about those. 2y times 3y squared is going to give me 6y cubed, adding those exponents. 2y times the negative 7y is going to give me negative 14y squared. When I add those exponents, 1 and 1 gives me a square. 2y times 4 is just going to give me 8y, positive, therefore it is plus. Took care of all that. I'm going to go ahead and switch colors to the blues so we can keep that color coded. I'm now going to take negative 1 times all this, which is super simple because all that happens is I'm changing the sign of everything in front. Negative 1 times 3y squared is negative 3y squared. Negative 1 times negative 7y is plus or positive 7y. And negative 1 times 4 is just negative 4 or minus 4. So at this point now, I have all of my things done. I just need to go ahead and combine some like terms. So let's do that. 6y cubed, largest degree monomial there. That means we're going to go ahead and put him down first. Nothing to combine him with, so he just comes down. I'm then going to go to the squares. I have a negative 14y squared. I also have a negative 3y squared. If I combine those, add those, I get negative 17y squared. Then I'm looking at my linear or my 1 degree term. My y's, 8y and 7y, of course, is 15y when I add them. And then last but not least, that constant of negative 4 comes down. I again have a 4-term cubic. And we are all done. Hopefully you found that pretty easy. Again, it's nothing different than what we did in the last 2 objectives. The difference is now it's just more things to multiply, more like terms to gather up, which is basically all algebra is giving you more and more terms or larger things to work with. Be careful, take your time, mark your exponents, don't let things get lost. Talk to you later.